Hello everyone, it's Angelika Kargulewicz, clinical nutritionist, and today we will talk about extremely important ingredient which is mainly known for its ergogenic properties, for example to increase exercise capacity, but also very important for people who suffer from neurodegenerative diseases and therefore they want to increase their cognitive abilities, but also very important ingredient for those who want to increase their total antioxidant potential of the plasma and also to fight the free radicals more efficiently. If you are interested which kind of nutrient is it, please stay with me. Today we will talk about creatine. What is creatine? But please do not confuse it with keratin, which is a protein found mainly in the skin, hair and also in the nails. So what is the creatine? Creatine is an ingredient which is normally produced also within our bodies, and its internal endogenous synthesis is around 1 gram per day. Also creatine is found in many food products, mainly animal origin. So if we follow like a standard omnivorous diet, we also take in around 1 gram of the creatine per 1 day. And what is the effect of the creatine? So this ingredient is stored in our body, mainly in the skeletal muscles in the form of the free one and also phosphorylated one, which is called phosphocreatine. And these components in a nutshell are the source of the energy, mainly for the short and intense form of exercise. Interestingly, small amounts of the creatine are also present in our brain. Why? In this part of our body they also function as a source of energy, but mainly to support our cognitive function like memory, also ability to think logically, but also potentially to shorten the recovery time after mild brain injury. Creatine may also be useful in people with sleep deprivation, depression, permanent exposure to the stress, and also in people with changes associated with aging. It can also minimize headaches, dizziness and fatigue. Why do athletes supplement their diet with creatine? This is because its ability to be stored within the muscle is very limited. Namely, the amount stored in the muscle is sufficient only for 8 to 10 seconds of the very intense exercise, and this is why it is administered in the form of the supplementation. And when it comes to dietary supplementation, what kind of supplement we should choose? I would answer the best option is this one, which was the best studied. So it means creatine monohydrate. And the dietary supplementation with creatine makes it possible to increase its muscle reserves. It also increases the muscle mass and exercise capacity, above all the anaerobic one, which means short and intense exercise. Likewise, in the case of brain function, dietary creatine supplementation helps to increase cognitive and regenerative abilities within the nervous system. In which food products we can find creatine? So the answer is in animal one, like meat and fish. For example, 1 kilogram of the pork provides around 5 grams of the creatine. In comparison, 1 kilogram of beef or salmon provides around 4.5 grams of the creatine. And a relatively high and rich source of the creatine is herring, which provides 6 to 10 grams of the creatine in 1 kilogram. And the question is, are the amounts of creatine in fish and meat sufficient for creatine-related effects? And unfortunately not necessarily, because in order to supply a reasonable amount of creatine from fish and meat, you will have to eat at least several kilos of them a day, which is not recommended. The recommended dose of creatine by Australian Institute of Sport for athletes is around 5 grams of creatine 4 times a day for 5 days, followed by a maintenance dose of 3 to 5 grams of creatine per day. In comparison to the normal food products, for example, in a loading phase, providing 20 grams of creatine would require eating as much as 4 kilos of the pork a day, which is obviously not advisable. When supplementing your diet with creatine, it is worth remembering to take it with a meal, because the release of the insulin increases the muscle uptake of the creatine, and it is also recommended to take it accompanied by 50 grams of protein and 50 grams of carbohydrate. You should take in your creatine after exercise accompanied by a meal, for example in the form of eggs with wholemeal bread plus skyr, which is a Scandinavian dairy product made from curdled milk. You can also choose a chicken salad with potatoes, or for example tuna with rice, or for example an oatmeal with strawberries and skyr. You may also wonder whether vegetarians, since they don't eat meat, have lower creatine content in their muscles. Admittedly, the creatine can also be synthesized in the body from ingredients contained in the plant food products. Creatine is synthesized in our body from 3 different amino acids like glycine, arginine and also methionine. For example, glycine we can obtain from such products like spinach, sesame seed, soy protein isolate and also spirulina. Arginine we can find in peanuts, walnuts, chickpeas and oatmeal, and methionine we can also find in oatmeal but also in Brazil nuts and sunflower seeds. But as the research results show, vegetarians have an approximately 20 to 30% lower creatine content in their muscles than people on a mixed diet. Interestingly, the dietary supplementation of vegetarians with creatine have been shown to have the greatest potential for muscle creatine dynamics. And another question is if seniors, elderly people can benefit from supplementation of their diet with creatine, and potentially this is an interesting way to increase their muscle mass. And the studies show that if you would like to prevent sarcopenia through the dietary creatine supplementation, this supplementation should be combined with the resistance training, which is very important here also for the elderly people. It is also worth mentioning that creatine improves muscle regeneration due to so-called atrophy due to muscle disuse, because, for example, injury, illness, or, for example, recovery from infection. And moreover, creatine in elderly people improves cognitive function and also provides better exercise capacity. But we should also be aware of potential drawbacks connected to creatine supplementation. For example, caution should be taken in people with impaired renal function. Although dietary creatine supplementation in a recommended doses does not contribute to renal damage, caution should be taken in people with already established renal insufficiency, which is much more common in elderly people. We should also be cautious when it comes to people with elevated creatinine serum level, and also we should remember that sometimes creatine supplementation can cause gastrointestinal discomfort, but the solution here is to lower the dose of the creatine supplementation and also to avoid a simultaneous intake of fiber-rich food products. And another drawback associated with creatine supplementation is a potential weight gain of 1 to 2 kilograms, which is related to a fluid retention in the body. In summary, creatine is not only a powerful supplement for better muscle performance, but also plays a crucial role when it comes to brain functioning, particularly in cognitive performance, neuroprotection, and also reducing mental fatigue. Despite its many benefits, a potential drawback such as minor weight gain, gastrointestinal discomfort, and caution for individuals with renal dysfunction should be considered when incorporating creatine supplementation into a daily diet. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you like the movie, please leave the thumbs up, subscribe my channel, and I hope that see you soon in the next episode.